It's time for the Hockey Writers Grindline, a weekly show covering everything Detroit Red Wings. Brought to you by our own iconic top line of Wings writers. Sit back and enjoy The Grind.
Welcome to the Hockey Writers Grindline. I'm Patrick Brown, your host and self-proclaimed dad joke expert, and we are thrilled to have you watching our humble show. For the past 5 years, you've caught our column on the Hockey Writers website, and now we are here with you to discuss the latest Red Wings news, rumors, and strategy. You'll notice we are still a three-man unit while our OG leader, Tony Wolak, continues on his relentless pursuit of rebuilding the Detroit Lions. So until that happens, might be a while, let's introduce our crew of the experts that we have here with us tonight, starting with Devin Little, one of our longest tenured writers here, and just an all-around class act. Devin, how you doing?
I'm doing well. You humble me too much, good sir. Good to see you both.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Up next, we have my personal favorite year-round playoff beard, Kyle Knopp. Kyle, how are you doing?
Oh, man, you are just full of it tonight. I love it. I'm doing great. Great to be here on the Friday night with you, and looking forward to the show.
Not the first time I've been told that I'm full of it. So, it goes around. Let's dive right in. We have a lot to talk about today. So the week that was, gentlemen, Red Wings lost to the Stars 2-1 in OT, and darn you, Jamie Benn. Lost to the Blue Jackets in a shootout where both goalies technically recorded a shutout. Final of that was 1-0. And then lost to Carolina in a respectable effort, 3-1. So 0-3 for the week that was. But let's talk about your takeaways, one good and one bad for the last week. Devin, let's start with you.
So I feel like I'm becoming a little bit of a broken record with my good thing here. But once again, Bernier had his, 5,000 save effort against Dallas. And then Grice had the first shutout of the Red Wings season, even though it came in a loss, because of course. So for once, even if it was just for a week, the Red Wings got great goaltending from both of their guys. That's a big deal. As for the bad, they got a shutout, but they lost. That's probably the encapsulation of the Red Wings season this year. They did good, but they still lost. So, yeah, that's my good and my bad for the week.
Yeah, Devin, makes sense with what we all saw. Kyle, how about you? One good, one bad for the week.
Yeah, I mean, to not give credit to the goalies this past week would be, insane, because they just played out of their minds, both of them. They kept the Wings in all of those games, really, and gave them a chance. So they're definitely the tandem for my good. For bad, I'd have to say, our offensive chances and creativity. In two of those games, we only got 17 shots, I believe, in the first and third game of the week. In the middle game, we got 44 shots, but we just couldn't find the back of the net enough. And so, just need to make that offensive flow happen and really get into shooting the puck more.
I think you guys covered plenty of bad. I think there's probably plenty to choose from. I'm going to say my good, and we are going to roll right into our next segment. My good is we got to see one of the most anticipated debuts in recent memory, JV 2.0. No, not Justin Verlander, ladies and gentlemen, but Joe Veleno made his Red Wing debut. And I don't know about you guys, but that was really exciting to see. And for those of you maybe just getting caught up or checking the box scores every night, 2 games so far as of this cast, 7 total shot attempts, 4 shots on goal, 14 and a half minutes average time on ice. And do we have a Luke Glendening Jr.? 60% on faceoffs, 9 of 15, something you love to see your first 2 games in the league. So let's talk about Joe Veleno for a minute here. What to you is a success for Joe Veleno the rest of the season? Devin, we are going to start with you on this.
In terms of success for us this season, I I honestly just want to see him keep doing what he's been doing. I've been uh, honestly impressed. I knew he was going to look good, but I didn't think he was going to look this good. He already looks like he fits in, and good for him because I mean it's his time to shine. He's doing a lot of the things that he was doing over in the SHL. Um, lifting sticks and taking away pucks, holding onto the puck in the O zone to sustain offensive pressure. It's one thing to do that in the SHL. It's another to do it in the NHL. And by golly, he's doing it. I really hope to see him get a point or two before the season closes, but I don't think that's the end all be all for him. So yeah, like I said, I just want to see him keep doing what he's doing because he's given Hockeytown a lot to be excited about.
By golly, he's doing it. Devin Little with the quote, ladies and gentlemen. I like it. Kyle, swinging it over to you. What defines a successful rest of season for Mr. Veleno?
Yeah, I mean, I think just, doing what he's been doing the last 2 games, getting that ice time, getting out there, getting the feel of the game, and really getting his legs wet, and just being able to get the pace of play kind of behind him, get those nerves shaken out. And, obviously points would be a success. But I think at that point, it's icing on the cake. We have 4 games left. If he could get 1 or 2 goals, a couple assists, that'd be great for his confidence going into the offseason. But, I have seen the confidence in him. I mean, a couple of his zone entries were very controlled, very nice, and just creating space. He seems to have no fear of anyone out on the ice, which is good. And his defensive play has been spectacular. I mean, he's just been picking the pockets. It reminds me of kind of watching Datsuk just come behind the guy and steal the puck without the guy even realizing he's there. And, so if we could get the finish part of that Datsuk's game to match it, then I think we're okay.
I think Kyle just crowned the next Pavel Datsuk, ladies and gentlemen. So in all seriousness, we were talking about his Kyle, you brought up his defense, a great call out. He's got 1 takeaway, and it was a pretty well distributed breakaway. For those of you, go look it up on Twitter. Great stick lift from behind, turnaround. Great opportunity. Not only did he have a high scoring opportunity, but the rebound he generated arguably should have been in the back of the net. Great play by Veleno early on. And I agree. I think what defines whether or not is success is how he finishes the year and if he keeps doing what he's doing. Devin, we'll swing it back to you to bring it on home.
I just want to say real quick, I know that everyone's injured. That's pretty much why this is the case. But let's get this kid some wingers and let's really see what he can do because, yeah, he's looked good alongside, I think, Gagne and Panic. But let's see how he does with Fabry on his wing. Let's see how he does with Vrana and Zadina on his wing, right?
And the way Zadina has been making plays this year, he may not be burying it in the back of the net, but boy, is he setting it up. So that could be an exciting combination to watch in the future. So let's roll in to one more topic that's a good little segue here. The rest of the season for the rest of the team. What does a successful end of year with what? I think there's 4 games left at this point at the moment of taping. So what defines a successful rest of season? And Kyle, we're going to start with you this time.
Yeah, so I think it's just being competitive, game in and game out, and showing up to the rink and being within each game. Each guy getting to play their role, getting to just compete and be in that game. Take these games and really try and improve their game any way they can. And what I mean by that, and I know I'm kind of just talking in a circle right there, but what I mean by that is, you have guys that fill different roles along the team. You have your grinders, you have your skill guys, you have your defensive specialists, and let them just play their game. Have some free flow to it. Let them get out there, explore, see what's working, what doesn't work. These 4 games, we win, we lose, it doesn't matter. Just let the kids go out and play. And then when you get back together at training camp, you have a little more idea of what they can bring to the table.
Yeah, for what it's worth, that's where I'm at, Kyle. Let the kids play, give them the time, and hope that they're competitive. That's right where I'm at. Devin, what to you defines a successful final 4 games of the season?
Just to kind of echo what you both said, obviously you want to see them be competitive, and if they've got 2 games coming this weekend against Tampa Bay, you just don't want to see them get killed in those games. Hopefully they hang in there and show well. I'm going to kind of amend it a little bit. I want them to show well. I want them to be competitive, but I also want them to help their draft positioning, because they've put themselves in a position where they might end up picking like 7th. And I personally want to see them get a top 5 pick. So if they can look real good while also losing, I don't like to be the person who cheers for losing, but I do like draft picks and high ones at that. So
The code word of the day is tank.
stealth tank.
Stealth tank. I like it. Well, good stuff, guys. Good stuff. Let's take a quick time out here. I want to thank you, the viewer, for taking time out and watching our show. Give us a like, subscribe to the Hockey Writers channel. There is so much good on this channel. We've got Blackhawks banter, Sabres scoop, Maple Leafs lounge. The list goes on and on. And of course, we've got the OG Hockey Writers Live with our very own Mark Shegg, who constantly is hosting the who's who of the hockey world. So follow us on Twitter. You'll see all of our handles down there. Sign up to our new morning newsletter, Morning Skate, that we just put out. And if you are listening to us on Spotify, which we are also on, you're welcome for this soundbite right here. So thank you again for checking us out. We appreciate you spending some time with us while we talk about the Wings. So let's get back to it, guys. We still have a lot to talk about. So everybody's favorite topic. In fact, we even did our group editorial, if you will, the grind line in written form, on the future of Jeff Blashill and what the Red Wings do with him. Let's set the stage for you really quick. Career record with the Red Wings of 170, 220, and 61. 1-4 in the playoffs. And of course, only appeared in the playoffs once in his 6 seasons to this point. So we talked about it in the weekly editorial. As I mentioned, if you haven't seen it yet, go take a look. But Devin, let's start with you, because you kind of fell with the consensus of what we think is going to happen. What do you think is going to happen with Jeff Blashill at the end of this season?
Yeah, I think if I'm betting money on it, which thank God I'm not, I am betting that Yzerman brings him back. The deal I have in mind, I'm going to encourage you to go check that article out and find out what that deal is. I think it would be ludicrous to do a super long-term deal with him. But I don't think it's completely out of your mind to go short term. And I think that is potentially where Yzerman's head is at. I'm very interested to see where this goes. It sounds like Yzerman has made up his mind on what he's going to do with Blashill. And once this season comes to an end, I think we'll hear news of Yzerman's decision fairly quickly. So I know I'm excited to hear the outcome of this and kind of put a period on this topic for a little bit. And I know I'm not alone.
Really quick, Devin, we want to get to Kyle, but super quick question. You mentioned it sounds like Yzerman has made up his mind. What led you to say that? What have you heard from Yzerman that has led you to believe that?
In his trade deadline press conference, excuse me, somebody had asked him about Blashill, just in general, what are the thoughts on Blashill or whatever. And he said, and I paraphrase, he said something along the lines of, we'll get to Jeff's situation very quickly after the season ends. He used the words very quickly. So yeah, I'm expecting a decision very quickly after the season.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have our the Grindline mascot. Devin,
Yes.
You have to introduce us. What's our mascot's name?
This is my dog Harley. He's visiting everybody. Say hello to Harley.
Harley, we are honored to have you on the show. Let's not lose track here. Kyle, super quick. Your thoughts on Jeff Blashill's future with the Red Wings?
Yeah. So if, like Devin, I was the betting man on this, I actually would put money on Eisman bringing him back for a year with a potential second year option. However, if it were me in charge of the team, I've found that he's become a little stale, and I think we should get a little bit more flavor or some fresh faces in the organization and shake it up and really give our new incoming crop of kids a different voice to kind of build off of. But that's my personal opinion, and Eiserman's the one that is the captain for a reason. So I will follow the captain, and I trust his plan.
It's the Iser plan after all, right? And save the hateful comments. Blashill's coming back. Blashill's probably coming back on a 1-year deal. I see Harley couldn't even bear to hear me say that. He left, but Blashill's coming back on a 1-year deal with an option for a second, hands down, because who else are you bringing in? Gallant is not the guy to develop the talent. There's nobody you're going to bring in. So I agree with the both of you. I think we will see just how good Blashill's player development is in the next year for sure. And it's going to be interesting because there are many that had previously said Larkin was regressing under Blashill. However, that certainly was not the case this year. I think everybody would say Larkin was a leader on this team. So more to come on that. We'll see how it goes, but certainly appreciate the thoughts on that. So let's bring it to an interesting question now, because obviously the Red Wings have had their struggles for the past few years. There's always been a scapegoat. Right? There's always been somebody who we've been able to kind of point the finger at, e.g. Justin Abdelkader, Stephen Weiss, Franz Nielsen, Ken Holland. There's always been a scapegoat. Jimmy Howard, I think we could throw out there. And we love you, Jimmy. Hope you're enjoying retirement. Is there a scapegoat on the Red Wings this year? Devin, your thoughts?
So what I like about this topic is I think it highlights how far the Wings have come since 2016, when it seemed like the whole roster was filled with scapegoats, as we'll call them. I think that in the beginning of the season, the number one target of all that was wrong with the world was Mark Stahl. And I think over the course of the season, that's kind of quieted down. I think people are just like, they realize he's on his last year of his deal, so he's going to be gone anyways. And I just think in general, now we're at a point where it's like, it's a bummer to have Franz Nielsen on the cap for another couple of years, but you know what? The Wings aren't in too bad of a spot where that's really holding them back. And it's not like Franz is playing night in and night out. He's been a healthy scratch plenty of times this season. We can talk about Danny DeKeyser in that light too. And certainly, we just talked about him. Blashill, someone that people can kind of point fingers at too. I just think in general, there are some undesirables on the team, but I don't think that they're so detrimental to the team that it's that to the extent that guys like Abdelkader and Eriksson and others were just a few years ago.
Absolutely. And, somebody wrote an article early on this season about Mark Stahl maybe playing a bit above the level that people thought he was. And I must say that article withstood the test of time as the season went on. A wise man,
so, I might say.
A wise man, exactly. For the record, my scapegoat is Dan Bilesma, and I'm going to leave it at that. Kyle, to you, is there a scapegoat on the team this season?
Yeah, so, looking back at the first half of the season, I'd almost have to kind of point a finger at Grice just because Bernier would come out and play really well and was just taking on the line share, and then would try and, take a couple nights off, and Grice would come in and we'd end up, granted, he wasn't getting a lot of run support, but he'd end up losing, 5-1, 6-2. And so I would have pointed at him, but he's really stepped up his game ever since Bernier went down with that injury, and he's really found himself. And so, to be honest, having both of them come back next year actually gives me some hope on that end. And then, the usual suspects, you could point at Fopula, you could point at Helm. A couple of guys that have been around are toward the end of their contracts, aren't quite what they used to be.
Sure.
But, to to be honest, I really don't think there's one true scapegoat.
Blame the goalie. Tony is cursing you somewhere and doesn't even know why. Blame the goalie. I agree too. It would have been nice to have the Grice that's playing now in the midst of that 8-game losing streak. That would have been nice. I don't think we would have seen the Red Wings struggle as much, and they'd be beyond their win total of last year. They matched it 21 games sooner, by the way, give or take. So some things to think about, but all good thoughts. So let's bring us home. Let's talk about, dare I say, playoff hockey. And I know it's a bit of a sore spot right now because it's been a while. It's been longer than we ever could have fathomed when we were in the midst of 25 straight seasons, but it is what it is. Let's talk about those teams that are trying to get into the playoffs at this point. Both the Central and the West divisions have 3 of 4 spots claimed. Things are a little more open in the East as of this taping right now. 2 spots are claimed in the East and only 1 in the North with Toronto. So tell me, we always see, usually there's a team that backs into the playoffs. A lot of times there's a team that gets hot and skates into the playoffs, and you've got your Mikhail Stolenkovs of the world that come out of nowhere and keep a team hot. So Devin, let's start with you. One or the other, you don't have to pick both. Who's your pick for either eking into the playoffs by backing in or going to get hot at the right time?
So I do want to quickly give a shout out to the team I mentioned is my secondary team, the Vegas Golden Knights. I believe they're on a 10-game winning streak now. Shout out to Jesse Granger for throwing some shade.
Devin does not need your hate comments. Okay, it's a fact and it's an interesting one at that. Continue.
True story. So I mean, if your team is going into the playoffs on a streak like that, you got to say, look out for them. And then looking elsewhere in the league, I do want to look at one other team that is kind of backing in. I'm really intrigued by the North Division and their final playoff spot. Montreal's in it right now, and I do think they'll be in it when all is said and done. But they're not making it easy on themselves, and all of a sudden, Calgary looks like they're gonna try to get a last-ditch effort to make things interesting. I know Melissa, our producer here, doesn't want to hear that, but
no, it's okay. Yeah, nobody's ever going to see this now because it's going to be cut from the show. So.
Exactly. But yeah, no, I'm a little worried about them heading into the playoffs, especially if they have to deal with Toronto. But hey, at least they have Cole Caulfield, and the Wings don't have anybody like that. So
I think we could all agree that just to be talking about making the playoffs and getting bounced in the first round to us right now would be a dream. So, it turns into a nightmare rather quickly, but it would be a dream. Kyle, to you, who's your last one in, and are they coming in hot or are they backing their way in?
Well, so to answer that question, I think, we're talking Montreal probably kind of backing their way in, so to say, or just barely staying ahead. I think for coming in hot, the Predators have just been on a tear right now. Yep. And I mean, they especially against the Red Wings, they just look untouchable. But they've been playing really well, and I think they're playing right now against the Stars, and that could pretty much guarantee which of the two are going to make it in. So that's my team for coming in hot. To kind of turn this a little bit, there's one team that I really thought was going to do better down the stretch, and that was Minnesota Wild. They had, I think, 7 of their last 10 games were supposed to be at home and against the bottom 5 teams or whatnot, or 4 teams, I guess, would make more sense. But they really have struggled, and especially against teams like St. Louis. And so I think, they're kind of cooling down at the wrong time. So they're going to be a team to watch, and then not take up too much more time of this, but 2 teams that I think are going to be really hot, really quick. One, the Lightning, Stamkos coming back from injury, Kucherov coming back for the playoffs. I mean, you can't ever count them out.
Low-hanging fruit right there, Kyle.
had
All right.
And then the other one, which might be on the same level, the Penguins. They're getting Malkin back, right? And
For
they've
sure.
been looking really good right now. And that pains me to say. But they look good, and I think you can't underestimate them ever.
Yeah, really good hockey from the Penguins lately. Actually, I think the last time I looked at the standings, and I've been looking at the standings quite a bit lately, kind of surprises me how well Pittsburgh's been playing and how well they've fared. For what it's worth, Nashville is my pick to click. I think they're the one getting hot. So can they ride it into the playoffs and beyond? We will see, but there's always that team. There's always that, I can name off how many President's Trophy Red Wings teams ran into the Oilers, the Flames, the Kings. Oh, it goes on and on and on. There's always that
The
team.
Ducks.
So the Ducks, exactly. Hey, that's the second because I got a Stelenkov reference in too. So this is good stuff. Good stuff. We are coming to the end of our show. Any last thoughts on how you're going to approach the week to come? Devin, we'll start with you. Anything to finish off?
Hunker down and try to just get through the Lightning. It's not going to be easy.
Hey, you never know. Maybe they'll surprise us. Kyle,
For sure.
Your thoughts heading into the weekend?
Yeah, so I guess going off of that, I mean, the one advantage we have is we are playing the Lightning at home, and they have not quite been as good away from Amalie Arena as they had in the past couple of years. They might be resting some more guys to get ready for the playoffs. In fact, I'm pretty sure they just assigned one of their AHL goalies up, brought him up to the taxi squad. So maybe one of the back-to-backs will get to see a third or fourth string guy, which will always be nice. But yeah, I think that this is their time to really gel together, knowing they're going into the playoffs, and that's going to be dangerous for the Red Wings. So we cross our fingers and we hope.
Absolutely. Well, we will have a lot to talk about as it relates to playoff hockey in the coming weeks and months. And even though the Red Wings will not be involved in that, I know we'll all be watching and we'll have plenty to say about it. So that is our show. Certainly would like to thank you, the viewer, for joining us. Give us a like, a subscribe, comment, share. Find us on Twitter at THW Grindline. We will answer your comment, answer your question on the very next show. So thanks again for joining us. Hope to see you again real soon, and have a good rest of your day.